Grand morning. It is the 23rd, I believe, of August 2026. It's Sunday, 23. Anywho, I give honor to the Divine Supreme Source, the Almighty God, for waking me up this morning, clothed in my right mind, health, strength, able to speak, able to think for thyself, and I give thanks for the Holy Spirit of God being in me to speak on my plateau. Hallelujah. Or should I say platform? Yeah, platform. Okay, so anywho, I just have something on my mind about how I perceive something as an illusion, and it has to do with the courts again. Now, we know we have kickboxing, we have just regular boxing, we have football and all of that, which is all aggressive contact sports. My head ties feel like it's coming undone, but it's all contact sports. And then we have the military, which is supposed to be a defense of any type of attack. And those are all legal bodily attacks. Then we have the law of enforcement, where they are supposed to protect and serve. And then I am going to put in a disclaimer, because I do know that I believe that everyone is not alike. Everyone do not think alike, and everyone is not a part of trying to keep people asleep, to oppress them, and to continue manipulation, and just want us to accept anything that is being shown to us. Because out of my own private experience, I do know that I do feel like the media that we see is told to do and what not to do by someone of authority, and they will not cover certain things until they either redact, rescript, or they can hide some things that will be incriminating until they, like they themselves incriminate them own selves. We'll just leave it at that, because I like finding little nuggets that is publicly out there to then present it back to the enabler of corruption, illusions to degrade humanity and our sanity, and then had the audacity to make therapists or to incorporate therapy after putting a people into situations to need some type of outlet, right? I'm not going to knock therapy. I'm not going to knock it, because we are human beings and we like to communicate. It's the measure in which you communicate your demeanor, your rapport with another human being, and how you think and what you do is very, very important, and it could be detrimental to someone's health other than yourself, at least for a little while. Because I do believe that when God say, I see the number of my enemies, my foes, and so I am going to come and assist you. I believe God, and I know it for a fact that He has, and He is doing just that. So anyway, when I think about enslavement, and then how certain people thought it was okay to do that, that is beyond me. And not only that, with the child, the 15-year-old child of Emmett Till, but during slavery, he was not the first child to be abused. Okay? And I know that some people will say that there were some other people, you know, like some countries, even to today, are really adamant about the woman does not have any power over her being. And that is ridiculous, to be believing this book that is holding people in bondage, which some of it was designed to do because of them inserting things sneakily. That's why you have to read and put your English lessons that was taught to you into practice. And say, I was trying to see if it was raining because it looks like it's going to rain, and my thing is coming unraveled, but let's continue. So when I think about also the senseless beating of Rodney King, which wasn't that long ago. Now imagine, they did that not too long ago with Rodney King. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think any of them served prison time, which is ridiculous. Now, the other ridiculous part of it is when people tore up their own living quarters, the city, when y'all, rioted. And I believe that it was designed because he knew the person who orchestrated that chaotic act to happen to Rodney King. Because I believe a lot of things that's happening on this earth, they are reading this book, they are trying to enact it, they are doing incantations, divinations, witchcraft, dark witchcraft. Because I just read in the word that God say, I know, where King Solomon, when he was warning King Solomon, when he saw him getting out of hand, the son of King David, he said that, you build this altar, but you are sinful. You are doing sinful things on this altar, which I know some people, out of my experience, have built an evil altar to try to take my life and put it into total chaos and ruin. That's why I referenced earlier in this video Psalms 3. God say, I know how many enemies you have. Let me see if I can go to it right quick. I know how many. It says, oh Lord, I have so many enemies. So many are against me. So many are saying God will never rescue. It says him, but I'm going to say her. But you, O Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, and the one who lifts my head high. I cried out to the Lord, and he answered me from his holy mountain. I lay down and slept. I woke up in safety, like I did this morning. Hallelujah. Ashe. For the Lord was watching over me. I am not afraid of 10,000 enemies who surround me on every side. Arise, O Lord, rescue me, my God. Slap all my enemies in the face. Shatter their teeth. Shatter the teeth of the wicked. Victory comes from you, O Lord. My blessings rest on your people. And I marvel at, the shattering of the teeth, because I know that King David, when Goliath was messing with his livelihood, I mean, if you come and eat up their livestock, or you mess with their livestock in any way, their vegetation in any way, that's messing with someone's livelihood, like someone is trying to do with me, trying to have me out here displaced. Then on top of displacing me, trying to devise a scheme to unalive me, constant harassment, trying to give me what they have named PTSD. I'm just going to say it is called when you have went to local law enforcement, we're going to say the Administrative Law Enforcement, Department of Justice, NSA, in those departments, and you're like, okay, is someone listening? I'm going to believe that someone is. But because there's so much, this rabbit hole is so deep, with the numerous of people who decided to jump on a bandwagon of let's mistreat this lady. And I know y'all have done this before, because your demeanor, your rapport is too relaxed when you do it. Like, okay, we did it. I did that to so-and-so and it worked. But why is it not working with this particular person? Nobody but the Divine Supreme Source, El Elyon, Yahweh Signu, the creator of all human life, animal life in this planet too. That is who protects me. That is who I give glory to. That is my understanding and my will to give honor and glory and praise to the one that was, is, and still to come and manifest his superpower for me against a number of people. Because how many of us know, even if it's 2 people, I'm singular. That's why I don't know where at in the Bible, but it says it's better to have a 2-band strand than to be out here alone. Because when you're out here alone, you're very vulnerable. And that is what my stalkers wanted to happen. That's why they did an illegal eviction. That's why certain family members wanted to come live with me. Little unbeknownst to me, I'm being the loving, compassion family member, seeing them as a family member, a friend, someone who has my back. But they didn't have my back. They were plotting, scheming, taking paperwork of mine, giving me wrong information, taking documents with my signature, then transposing my signature onto their phony documents to do nefarious things. And then after they thought they put all their ducks in a row, they say, okay, now we need to illegally evict her, put her out there by herself, do spell work so people will reject her. So I tell you, I went to Panama, Florida. I was near Fort Walton Beach, Florida. I was in a lot of parts of Florida before going into Alabama, into Georgia, then Maryland, Virginia, Washington, and now here in Ohio. And everywhere, like the cartoon, The Road Runner, like I say, our TV and the news is set up to trap your eye gauge, get it on your mind, get it in your heart that this is what can happen to you. This is what will happen to you if you don't wake up out of their matrix. And that's why I publicly on my platform renounce the name Jesus. That is feeding the beast. In my Father, the Divine Supreme, told me, do not. And so I am going to adhere. And I will not be feeding the beast. Anywho, and then in this book, it says it makes, every time we sin, it makes the priests win, and it makes them more powerful. It makes them thrive while you are, drifting away. So, I mean, if that were the case, as you die out, then I guess they're going to be feeding off one another. But I believe people are waking up to this foolishness. Because, right, let's go back to Rodney King. And like I said, I don't believe any of the officers were held accountable for senselessly and beating out his senses, literally. I mean, he survived it, but if you go and look at that attack like we all seen, back to the stupidest court proceeding of the Loving family, a court system trying to tell you who you can love and who you can't. I pause like that because there is something in the Bible that all of you could go read for yourself, because this Bible, in my opinion, is talking about how they enslaved people that look like me and the things that they did to them. And then they put in that, God allowed it. Obviously, God, our ancestors lost their way with God somehow. And they were held captive by certain people. But I've always said to God when I'm praying, God, I'm so glad, use me for the light. I don't want to be used for darkness. I don't want to be a bad person. And again, I wasn't living when my ancestors were living. And I know with my life, I know that some things I didn't do right, but it wasn't as horrible as these malicious people have told lies on me. I never murdered anyone, never was put in the position to do that, and I don't wake up intentionally trying to hurt anyone. I do intentionally want to think for myself, and when I see something that just doesn't set well with me, I want to have the freedom to speak about it so we can have a rapport. All human beings have a rapport to be able to speak on a thing that is not right for the whole collective of human existence. Like Rodney King. I don't know why those officers got off. I don't know why they even was bothering him or kept hitting him, because his body was having a reflex from the pain he was, and then they took that as he's being aggressive. How many of you know a black stick hitting you? Not the former thing, the horse whip that used to whip my ancestors. So I don't know which one is harsh. All I know is I'm a human being. And unless we're in a fight, I don't think you should be hitting me. And even if we were in a fight, I think we need to speak. Talk it out. Reason together. Because we're all adults. We know that if you get in a fight, sometimes you can die. You can fall and hit your head the wrong way and it's over. How many of us has seen that on the news? Someone got in a fight, the person fell. They might have gone to the hospital for a little bit, but they end up red rumming from that fight, and then you end up getting charged with murder. But back to Rodney King. All those officers taking a turn hitting somebody. Now let's just sit there for a minute and visualize that. And nobody was held accountable for acting barbaric, hitting a person over, and over again. So no matter how frustrated you was on the job that night or your home life, you don't come over here in my face, in my home, and take your frustration out on my body, on my loved one, or somebody that look like me. You don't do that. You don't get to make that choice or have that luxury. See, that's where I have a problem with. We have a court system that just said, forget what you saw. Forget what you saw. Those police officers didn't do that. You didn't see that happen. You didn't see, but then they're gonna cut a check to this person that they harmed. And then the Loving family. What a waste of tax dollars. What a waste. I come to the conclusion about the Loving family situation because they want that Baphomet to rule the world. Now, if we are in existence now and we see male and female, and I believe they say that some people are born with the same sex, a hermaphrodite it is. I don't know why God allowed that to happen. I don't even know if it happens. I ain't never seen it. And unless I see it, I'm going to have to say somebody might be trying to bring up an illusion. Although it could happen because we see in birth that some people come out a little bit different. I don't know. I ain't never seen it. And if it is true, okay. But I would say perhaps that would be, yeah. We're going to say that's like a curse. Why would God give you both sexes? He know what he's doing unless something is wrong with the parents. I don't know. But all I'm saying is I'm grateful that, you know, I was born with 10 toes, 10 fingers, and my 2 eyes, and, you know, everything. I'm grateful. And I don't mean to sound indifferent against anybody who had a child that was born different. I will say that in this book, as we know, God is not playing when you have done something in the past, or if there's a curse on your family from ancestors of the past. Now, for my 3 children to come up against me, I do believe it was, you know, some spell work. And it was a bloodline curse on me from my family and ancestors before, about what they have done. And, you know, like, I really don't feel like the parent that raised me is my family. And I thank God that they didn't, you know, because if you're a small child, you can be easily taken advantage of and red rum. So I am grateful that God didn't allow them to do that to me, because they could have done that to me. But it's just a shame that court went on about who you can date when we're all here. We have Asians, Hispanics, Mexican, or black people, Caucasian people. We're all here. Although in the Bible it does say, you know, like with Samson and Delilah, Samson's family was like, no, that's not the woman for you. So there must be something to that. Although it's called your human nature, your intuition. If you meet somebody, if they're not doing spell work on you, unbeknownst to you, that's why all people need to be aware of that it is real, and somebody might be doing a study case on you to come in as a handler to try to overtake you, like it happened to me. That's why I can speak on it. Someone was studied me from infancy to present day, and they brought in different people trying to make me go to the left instead of to the right, doing the right things. However, I must have been titter-tottering, because whatever they thought was going to happen, it didn't happen, and I am grateful. Ashe. Because, again, as a child, you think as a child. And then if you're thinking as a child, and then you have adults trying to steer you in the wrong way, it wasn't nobody but the Divine Supreme, that when I was messing up or do mess up, He is there to protect me. Hallelujah. Ashe. So, anywho, and then with the math thing, it seemed like if you add something to something, it multiplies for you. So I don't know why we needed multiplication. I don't know why we need square root and all that. I mean, the centimeters and stuff, and building a structure, an architect, an engineer. I don't know, do y'all really need those square roots? Or are you just adding inches and you're shaping it, carving it? Like, maybe you do for that 360 circumference to get those perfect circles and stuff. So maybe you do. But what I'm saying, when it comes to the currency, all I need is for you to add to it so it does multiply. Because it seemed to me, with that, I mean, that one times, you just get the same thing. Well, in addition, 1 plus 2 equals 3. So I added 1 up. I want you to add to me substance, not take it away, unless I rightfully delegate it into an investment that will multiply back to me and not take from me. And, you know, the whole thing about what these people did that was so egregious and heinous, and not to mention the energy weapon that was used on me for years, and to, you know, be a single woman out here in the streets, you know it has to be the Most High protecting me, and I am grateful. Okay, because I have been met with adversity, and it was because someone had put a spell on me to be rejected. Wherever she goes, let her be rejected. You know, that is something that they did to me, and I'm glad that that is no more. May the Most High return that seed back to the one who sent it to me. Poverty, scarcity, glamour spells, return to sender. Return it all, because I did not do that to you. I have not done that to anybody in my life. The things that they have done to me. They wanted me to be single. They want me to be single. I know that in this situation, I'm not really looking for anybody, because there's things that I need to do to protect my borders before I even consider something like that, because I know that that is the first win for an adversary, when you let somebody in your circle and your borders are not secure. Because that last ex, that's how he got in, when I felt like I'm just ready to leave, and I keep telling this brother that I'm living with, I'm ready to get from under this energy weapon. So they was harassing me. They knew about my conversation to a friend of mine named Angie. That wasn't a friend. She was a friend of me. A whole witch sleeping with Kenny. But girl, you can have him, okay? But what you can't have is what you stole. Okay? Anywho. And so, you know, I was just ready to go. And then going up there visiting my daughter. And then I met this Antichrist. Whew. When God say you better pay attention, because the enemy won't come like you think he will come. He will come like, I'm out here with my relatives, and I used to do contracting, and I have a heart disease. Not that I have HIV. Yeah, this is what he said. I have heart disease. If you could just, you know, once I exchanged numbers, he was like, why don't you text me sometime, because sometimes I forget. Text me and remind me to take my medication. We just met. Who was texting you before? That's what I'm thinking now. But I was saying, texting him that mind control, right? Yeah. Anyway, so I have played the fool too, because now that Negro went around saying that I was the one that gave him HIV, but I don't have that. He do though. So with that one little text, see how the enemy can set it up when you leave them with police escort. Then the narcissist is twisted and mad. Mind you, my ex-husband, he just walked out on me. But yet he's still in my atmosphere too, because he did something to me too that he know was hideous, foolish. Him and his mama, who never liked us to be together. But I'm so glad that we're not together. But yet y'all still in my energy. And then, you got a sister too that's, I think she's trying to be me too. These people crazy. So, it might be some incest going on with those two, my ex-husband and his sister. Sick. That's what witchcraft would do for you when you manipulate it in the wrong way. You end up making your crown be backwards. Although we see your face forward, but your mind is backed up, probably in your caboose. But anywho, these people are sick. That's a sickness in mind and heart. Because if you think you could sit up there and do spell work over the courts, although the courts don't need too much spell work, because you sat up there and went into somebody's normal, regular life, like the Lovings, and said, we do not allow you to be married. A waste of tax dollars, and your mind is somebody else's business. Now, let me get back to the point at hand. Now, I believe they did that to discredit man and woman's marriage to one another. And so then, you remember a while back where you would see on the news, because the news is hyped and is meant to put out the fake illusion so they can get their agenda on board. Where some gay people or trans people were getting murdered. You remember, it was like hotcakes. It was happening like every week on the news. And then all of a sudden, you got LGBTQ society. They have to be protected. But yet, ancestors way back when were being beaten and made to work from sun up to sundown. And if you didn't perform the way they wanted you to, you would get whipped. But your body tired. Like, y'all go to work today. Do you get tired? You'll call in, I'm sick. Because you tired. But you will call in and say you sick. But ancestors back then didn't have that option. So somebody is barbaric and twisted and a whole monster treating people, another human being, because of the color of their skin. Or, better yet, trying to insert yourself in to the amami of God's chosen people. Period. So, again, sexual preference should not be something that we need to point out or, yeah. I don't advocate for people being hurt. Period. Now, if a transvestite, because some of y'all can look better than a woman when y'all put on makeup, and y'all done had jobs done to your body, but we don't see that in between the legs part yet, right? And then you go out and you go to a straight man who ain't with being with a man, whether you change your sex or not, and you lie and don't tell them, and then you get hurt in between time, because I believe in some of those cases when it was happening back to back, that was the case. That's why the Bible cautions you about lying, because we don't know when you're telling the truth. And that's, to me, that's the worst thing somebody can look at you as, a liar. And, you know, some people today is starting to be looked at that just like that. Because you have lied so much to a nation of people. But anyway, we're going to let the light do what it do. The light of God is here. Now, and again, back to the LGBTQ. I don't care who y'all sleep with. Only time I care about that is when I do decide to get in a relationship. If somebody else is a third party in my relationship, that's a problem. Period. Poo. Because I ain't with all of that. Okay? I'm not polyamorous. I'm not none of that. And my ex that got HIV, he is all about that. Nigga, you can have all of that. That's probably why you got that funkiness now. Okay? You can have all of that. But you can't have what you stole, and you would never have me again, and you ain't in control. You are out of control, like so many of them before. Period. Okay? And again, I say, with the George Floyd thing, if y'all go back and look at that video, he got his knee on that man's neck. Hear him saying, "I can't breathe," and he just got his hand on his, and it's making his body be even heavier. But now that I think about it, let me slow it down, because I ain't. Anyway, so many people have enacted a death, but yet they are still alive. That's all I'm saying. The illusions that they are painting. Stories like barbaric, is some barbaric stories in this book. Some bestialities of activities in this book. That people are trying to enact, like The Walking Dead. What's the symbolism of that, or what's the realness of that? When people get strung out on drugs or alcoholism or nymphoism, and then you get a disease that can make your mind twisted. You get a disease and you get some spirits from everybody that person has slept with, that you slept with. You're transferring onto him, and him to, or she, or he, all them spirits, and then your mind is, and your character is just filthy. That's why, who wants a polyamorous? I mean, I really would want y'all to tell the truth. Because when y'all come on TV shows like y'all have, that's y'all feeding the beasts again, feeding the priests. Every time you sin, they win. gets stronger and more demonic, and so do you. I want the truth about all those different spirits and characteristics in a family unit. Y'all believe King Solomon and King David, all those wives? No. It's some turmoil in the house. Miss me with all of that. If you have turmoil with the parents in the, not turmoil, but a little bit of indifference with the parents and their own children, miss me with all of that. Another wife and her children and your children, and then another wife on top, miss me with all that. It is not peaceful. It is not. And I'm only dealing with my family. I ain't dealing with all that. Period. It does not make sense to me, and it dang sure don't resonate with my body. Period. That's nasty. And now that I think about it, it's just filthy. That's my opinion, though. And that's how I feel about it. I'ma die with that. Y'all can do what you want to do, because it's your body. So when you come in my atmosphere, when I do get with somebody, then it's going to be a problem. But what you do, have fun, okay? Other than that, because I know that the Divine Supreme, whatever he said, don't do, you and you gonna find out. Period. Okay, don't nobody need to explain a thing to you about all of that, because everybody know we are subject to the God of the lower gods and lords. Okay, so miss us with all of that, because he said, let us make man out of our image. And you know, that can be taken out of context, because we know that a man and a woman need to come together to fertilize a seed. So when he said that, that could have been like a metaphor of, let's go contemplate, you know, to his wife, because God is not gay. The Divine Supreme ain't gay. That's how he made. Anyway, never mind. Y'all will get it. And once you wake up out of the illusion, okay? So, all I'm saying is, gang stalking, being a rude individual, being an individual that think you can control another individual and then do it by lies and words that cast a spell or cast a light over the people that you're speaking to about somebody. But if you're not a weak somebody who think for yourself, and wherever I've been in this world, you should see me, not what somebody else have spoken. Because throughout this time of being out here on the streets, living in my car, I have not been arrested. I have not thought about being on drugs. I have not thought about giving my body up to anybody. And I try to see the good in people until you show me something else. And that's how people should do with everybody. Because a rumor got Emmett Till killed A rumor messed up a whole community. Way back when on Black Wall Street, and probably back before that, and even to this day, a rumor that someone told you about me has messed up a whole community. Now, I'm going to add this. Something was already messed up in you for you to even say, okay, I do it. Or even if you were hurting for something to get paid so you can have a better life, I know there's a saying, when a baby is born, somebody's going out. So did y'all say, well, if I ruin their life, my life is going to come up? And God say, wherever you sow, you shall also reap. So if you sow discord, poverty, hate, is it your turn now? Is that infinity sign, has it circled back around? That's how I view life. Anyway, everyone have a nice day.